Benton County Commission is now in session.
Gerald Heath, Learning Section.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, we just thank you for the many blessings we receive, Lord. We just ask that you be with each and every one here today, Lord, as we go about the county's business. Lord, we just ask that the decisions made here is pleasing with you. Lord, we just ask for blessing on each and every one here, Lord, as they return to their loved ones. Lord, we just ask for travel mercies on their way home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Word plan, please.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call by Donna Nelson, please. Leah Dyke. Here. Norman Fraser.
Here.
Gary Furr.
Here.
Sunny Hall.
Here.
Phil Melton.
Here.
Doug Bickers.
Here.
Michelle Hill. Here. Roseanne Ward. Here. Gerald Heath.
Here.
Ronnie Hopper.
Here.
Mary Powers. Here. Angie Hearn.
She's late. So she began late.
Don Patton.
Here.
Dana Ferguson. Here. Kenneth Miller.
Here.
Rocky Crescent.
Shop welcome.
Ward Plant.
Here.
Gonna pick a fifth district commissioner. Anybody have an appointment?
I nominate Angela Jones.
Anyone else? Darrell?
I'll nominate Janet Deacon.
Anyone else? Anyone in the audience want to be a fifth district, nominated for the fifth district?
Anybody wants to nominate somebody else?
Anybody on here that knows that we're nominated? The, Miss Angela Jones, would you like to come up?
Good evening, I'm Angela Jones. I've lived here in Camden since 2003. I definitely can't make the claim that I was born and raised here. I don't have any family here, it's just me. But in the 16 years that I've lived here, I've really come to look upon Camden and Benton County as my home. And even though I'm a relatively, quiet, private kind of person, I feel that in a time of need and a time of growth and change, that even a private person may choose to step forward to offer service to the community she loves. And that's what I've done here, is I've stepped up to put my name in for the seat for District 5. I don't know if you'll choose me, that's a private matter for a few more minutes. But I hope you've had an opportunity to look through my materials that were included in your packet this time. I included my full vita primarily for the reason that I wanted you all to be aware and know that I've had a lot of experience in doing research. And I think one of the things that you're called upon to do as a county commissioner is to be able to review and thoroughly understand the data and material that is set in front of you each time. I know that a diversity of things come through here that we have to look at and understand and comprehend and then make a choice about how to proceed. And I think my research background would make me a good person to be able to sit on this commission with you all and participate fully in what we have to do here. So that's all I would have to say for myself, is that I do have good experience. I'm motivated to do this. And if you all would give me your vote, I would give it my very best effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Janet Egan.
I don't think I need to introduce myself. Everybody knows me. I've been attending the county commission meetings for the past 13 years. And I'm open if anybody has any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
What is your desire, Ms. Janet?
For people in my district that stay involved in the community.
Now, you've been in politics before, have you not, with city or what?
No, in a local party, but not the city. Anybody else?
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Jackson. At this time, we'll take a roll call.
No, I got a question.
Oh,
I want to talk, Dana, with this district, second district, I'll get the right number out eventually. I want to say that this is the first time since I've been a commissioner that I have had people call me, stop me in stores and everything else, telling me for Angie. So I just wanted to let you know that the people in the district do want Angie.
anybody else? Roseanne.
I would like to say, Roseanne in the 5th District, that I have spoke with a few people myself, and they mentioned Angela highly, and they feel like that her education is a big plus for her, and I'd just like to throw that in there. If you read her resume, it tells all about her education.
Roseanne. Mary.
Yes, I'd like to speak on behalf of Janet. Janet has been faithful to attend all of our meetings, and there's very few people that's probably missed, as you know, the least that she has missed. And so she has an interest in this county, and I'm sure she has an interest in this district. Her husband, her past husband, deceased husband, was a county commissioner also as well. And I would hope that that would be something that y'all would consider when you're voting to replace Mr. Key.
Warren.
These are great, two good people, Angie and Janet. My 60 years old, I've known Janet through the commission meetings for the last 4.5, nearly 5 years, and I've seen her actually present at these meetings and learning, so that carries a big heart with me, and her presence and being here.
Anyone else? Michelle?
Milford District, like Dana, I have had a few phone calls. And, 4 phone calls, and all 4 of them asked for me to vote for Angela Jones. You know, they're both excellent examples of our citizenry, but overwhelmingly, I think I've heard the people in my district request us to vote for Angela, so that's how I plan to vote.
Anyone else? When we do a roll call, you'll pick the one that you want, and then we'll see who has the most. Just last night, everybody.
Kalia Dye,
Take them.
Norman Fraser,
Jones.
Gary Fur,
Jones.
Sonny Hall,
Higgins.
Phil Melton,
Jones.
Doug Vickers,
Higgins.
Michelle Hill,
Jones.
Roseanne Ward,
Jones.
Darrell Hicks,
Higgins.
Ronnie Hopper,
Higgins.
Mary Powers,
Higdon. Don Patton.
Higdon.
Dana Ferguson.
Jones.
Kenneth Miller.
Higdon.
Rocky Preston.
Jenny.
Ward Plant.
Jenny.
Six Jones. We have 6 Jones and 10 Higdon.
What was the count again?
10, 6. 10 Higdon and 6 Jones. Higdon. And will we use that time to nominate, come into the swearing in first?
Well, make a motion for a 5-minute break for you swearing in.
Yes. Anybody second?
Second.
Sorry, Janet. Just raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will perform with fidelity the duties of the office to which I am elected, which I'm about to assume. I do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of Tennessee and the United States and faithfully perform the duties of the office of County Commissioner representing of Benton County, Tennessee.
Brett got one too. Not until I told her to shut the paper.
Brett got one of her swearing me in.
We're still in recess, huh?
Okay, we need to do a roll call. Now we're at the election of chairman. Do you have any nominations, Ms. Mary?
I nominate Ward Plant.
Who second? Anyone
I second
else?
the nomination.
We already had a second here for, did the second.
I nominate Rocky Preston.
Wanda, Shay, thank you for the confidence. I'm gonna turn it down. It's not important to me to show y'all how good a job I can do chairing this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Diane?
I make motion for, Roseanne.
I will second that.
I make a motion for nomination be closed.
I want to decline. I appreciate, Dana and Joe, I appreciate your confidence in me, but I will also decline.
Anybody else?
We have a motion on the floor.
Anybody
That
else?
nomination cease.
Any, you didn't need to start it. So I had someone speaking. Donna? Okay, you want?
I second it.
Let's do that vote.
Still have to vote.
Chairman?
You gonna vote? Chairman, can I say something? I'll vote for it, I'll vote for you, you won't say a speech.
Okay, Donna, do a roll call.
Leah Dyke,
Yes.
Norman Frazier,
Pass.
Gary Fur,
Yes.
Sonny Hall,
Yes.
Bill Melton,
Yes.
Doug Bickers,
Absolutely, yes.
Rochelle Hill,
Yes.
Jenny Higdon,
Yes.
Roseanne Ward,
Yes.
Darrell Hicks,
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper,
Yes.
Mary Powers,
Yes.
Don Patton,
Yes.
Diana Ferguson,
Yes.
Kenneth Miller,
Yes.
Rocky Preston,
Rosanna Ward. Ward, yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
So we have,
I wish to change my vote. I heard you get better with age.
oh, someone change your vote?
To yes.
We have 17. One action.
Word?
First thing I want to say, thank you for letting me do my best. I also want to thank Ms. Janet Higgins for stepping in as the new commissioner. Thank you all for what you've done. Brings us now to the election of the pro tem. Need a motion, Mr. Hoffman, Earl Hicks.
I nominate Roseanne.
Well, I need a second on that first. And a second on Mr. Hicks.
Second.
Second, Mr. Mary.
Nominate
Ms. Key nominates Roseanne.
I second that. Bill Fitz.
Second, Mr. Hill, second. Anyone further? Any more discussion? If not, that moves us to take a vote on it. One of the most voted, or the percentage carried, will be the new pro tem.
We'll do a roll call and just say the last name, please. Kalia,
Hicks.
Norman,
Ward.
Gary,
Ward.
Sonny,
Ward.
Phil, Doug, Vickers,
Ward.
Michelle Hill,
Ward.
Janet Higdon, Higgs, Roseanne Ward,
Pass.
Daryl Hicks,
Pass.
Ronnie Hopper,
Yes.
Mary Powers,
Hicks.
Don Patton, Dana Ferguson,
Ward.
Kenneth Miller,
Ward.
Rocky Crescent,
Higgs.
Ward Plant.
Hicks.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Seven Hicks and Daryl Hicks and 8 Roseanne Ward. And 2 pass. Does anybody want to change your vote? Too late.
Don't want to change your votes?
Too late.
Too late, you've already said it.
We don't have a date yet for the winner, so soon we'll be next month. Thank you. Item 8, approve the agenda. Motion.
Motion.
Motion. Taylor. Need a second?
Second Bill.
Second. Mr. Hill. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor say aye. Somebody find me on the citizen. I've got it right here. Mr. Mark Lawrence.
Good evening. I won't take long this time. I'm sure I'll be back for the night session. But I wanted to bring your attention, probably you don't remember last year, but the new federal law, Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, requires that on the school report card, starting this early November or late October, that we have a per school expenditure. That's something that's required by federal law. It's nothing new that we've never had before, with the exception of it's going to show on paper what we spend per student at each school. So I tell you that, I'll come back in October. I can't answer a lot of questions, so we're still waiting on the spreadsheet from the state, but you as a county commissioner need to know that, because it's been this way for 70 years. But now when that's broke down per student, your schools in Holiday and Big Sandy are obviously going to show a lot higher per student cost than the county schools. It's been that way forever, with the exception of it has not been on the report card. So I told you that last year. You probably didn't worry about it a whole lot, but when it comes out in late October, it could be something that's some questions from the community. We'll have the answers. Those community schools are very important, but I think as commissioners, you need to realize that when that report card comes out, it is going to break it down. I can't tell you exactly, but it's probably going to be a couple, $2,000 or $3,000 per student difference, between those two schools. So just wanted to make you aware of that. I'll try to have more answers in October, and then that report card will come out late October or early November. Any questions? I mean, I can't answer a lot, but I just think you as commissioners need to know that.
I'm just gonna say, just like Director Barnes back there for the electric company, that I'm sure you're still gonna have a lot of questions, even though you've told a lot of people, and information is important. So, but to me, it's cut and dry. It makes all sense in the world. So, but you know how people are, the human nature.
It is, and I just wanted you to know, and we tried to explain to the Department of Education, they said, well, it won't be any problem to explain. Well, it is going to be a difficult explanation, but we'll get through it. But I just wanted you to be aware of that because it's a couple months away. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Move to line item 10, Commissioner Thorne.
I'll start out saying hello to everybody, citizens, commissioners. I have a new friend, everybody. He's in the audience. Kenny Earl. Him and his wife moved here about 2 years ago. They moved here from California. Mark, he's a retired school teacher. This is his second commission meeting. He knows very few people in town, so everybody say hello to make him feel welcome. That being said, I got a subject I want to talk about. Hey, Kenny. Let everybody see you, man. He's been in Pitt County for 2 years. I don't know if I said that or not. The subject's waste management. This was talked about property and budget. I'm going to mention on it briefly right now. Thank you, Ashley. You put it in the minutes on one of the meetings. Waste management covers 666 acres. They paid a little over $54,000 in property tax last year. From this day forward, at 2,000 tons a day being dumped in that landfill, the last capacity of that landfill is estimated to be 25 years. This information comes from Nick Lowell. Nick Lowell is the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. He's the solid waste permit manager. He's also involved in this EWS final cap that they're putting on out there. The contract reads on page 4, 120 acres not currently permitted. The county will not oppose an application to expand. They applied for 30 of those acres in August of 2002. So there's 90 acres out there that hasn't been permitted that they've got to work with that is a part of that 25-year projection. On June the 1st, 2022, the county is going to receive a 20-cent per ton increase. We're getting $1.20 now, it's going to go to $1.40. June the 1st, this is a very big concern of mine, and this is this subject's brought up right now. June the 1st, 2001 was when the contract started. I'll say that again. June the 1st, 2001 was the beginning of this 30-year contract. On June the 1st, 2021, that's 1 year, 8 months, and 14 days from today, Waste Management can start charging all the residents and all the businesses in Big Sandy, Holiday, and Camden in the county. That has been verified by Wanda F-U-Z-G-E-L-L and her team. She's the Northwest Tennessee Solid Waste Director. She's taken that language, she's ready, she says, yes, Doctor, that's what I'm saying. They can start charging our citizens. I got a letter, and this is just for thought. Everybody go home and sleep on it. This letter is dated December 8, 1998. This was when Mr. Jimmy Thornton was a county mayor. The letter is from a law firm, Bullock, Fly, and Hornsby. And it's talking about a county resolution asking for an increase in fees at Waste Management. The Court of Appeals has ruled that a resolution might not violate the host fee agreement, providing for an increase in fees to the county, with a new fee being imposed upon the generators and the haulers of the waste, and not the owners of the landfill. So that instruction from that law firm is telling us that we could possibly go to the courts and get an increase in fees, and it might be legal if it applies to the haulers. That being said, I'm going to yield the floor and let the next speaker talk.
Mayor, would you like to say anything?
Go ahead and see if there's any other commissioners who want to talk.
Mr. Hicks?
I've had a few phone calls on this subject, and as you know, I've been a big advocate of the law enforcement. I fought very hard to get them a raise, and we did. I had a couple of phone calls blaming me, and a couple of phone calls wanting to know why. We voted for them to have a 10% raise in the jail across the board, you know, every employee. And the call I got was they only got an 8% raise, and the part-time people didn't get anything. And I don't know if this is fact or not. I just want to make it aware to the committee. And I want to put on record that that's not what we voted on. We voted for a 10% raise, and we was under the understanding it would be a 10% raise across the board. And I don't like it when we get phone calls and they blame the commission. You know, it wasn't us. We tried to do the right thing, and we all voted, you know, to pass the budget. So I just want to make the commissioners aware that there's people out there blaming us for this raise. Thank you.
Ms. Powers?
Yes, I was just gonna ask, Commissioner Preston, how much are they going to start charging the citizens in 2021? Does the contract say?
No, the contract doesn't say it, and I don't have that answer.
So they could just charge you what they want to?
The contract, the language in the contract is easy to read. It's don't take you a lawyer to read it, tell you what it says, and there's no language concerning that. I hope that all the commissioners encourage the mayor to start work on it. Maybe he already has. I think we need to start talking about it now. Let's don't wait a year and 8 months when they hit us with this issue. Maybe we can bring them back to the table and negotiate something different.
Ms. Rochelle?
Yes, I just wanted to answer the raise for the sheriff's department and the jail. Yes, the budget committee did vote for a 10% increase across the board, but when we received the figures in that new budget, that wasn't enough money to give them a 10% increase. If we had given them all a 10% increase, we would have run out of payroll before the end of the fiscal year, and that's something that the sheriff didn't want to do. Based on the funds given in each line item, the most he could eke out was an 8% back in the jail and a 7% up front, and that was the best we could do. They're two separate budgets. You couldn't take money from one to the other. But when he ran the figures, 8% was the most we could do without risking running out of funds.
Mr. Hicks?
When we passed the budget, we used the figures that they presented us, and they had figured in on our understanding that it would be a 10% raise. We just went by the numbers that they presented, and they said it would be a 10% raise. And then it would be across the board. You know, it wouldn't be this officer gets this much and this officer gets this much. That's the part-time people, my understanding, didn't get anything. And the jail is separate from the sheriff's. That's how we voted on it. I believe it's in the minutes that way. So this same line item that don't pertain to this.
The figures
I'm
that
please.
I apologize.
So what I want everybody to know is tell the citizens it's not our fault that they didn't get the raise. Because I fought harder than anybody to get these people this raise. And we went by the figures that was given to us, saying this is what we need for a 10% raise. Where we didn't make them numbers up. We agreed to give them that amount. Thank you.
Those numbers
Stand up,
were,
please.
I'm sorry. The numbers we gave the budget committee were not the final numbers that came out in the last draft. They weren't quite what we had asked for, so we had to scale it back just a bit. I mean, I'll be willing to pull that paperwork again, but, you know, we were grateful for the raise we got. All the employees are very grateful, and I don't believe there are any part-time employees in the jail.
Can I speak to that?
Yes,
Mr.
sorry.
Shaw? Actually, the 10% increase came based off of this previous fiscal year budget. So if you take your 2018-2019 fiscal budget, all of those payroll line items, and add 10% to that, that's what your new 2019 and 20 budget is. And that is 10%.
Well, I knew the figure came from a complete 10%.
Right. So I guess that's where the budget committee and also your employees are kind of, we're all kind of at a loss. We don't understand if we increase each payroll line item by 10%, how did they not receive 10%?
All I know is that when the figures were run, 10%, we would have been running out before the end of the fiscal year. And that was not based off of the highest paid, that was based on each one coming across at their rate of pay.
Like for example, we're just gonna pull line 160, guards. Okay, that in last fiscal year budget, you had $603,000 for the entire fiscal year to meet that payroll. Okay, if you take 603 and you add 10% to that, that's 60,300. That brings you to what's in the budget at 663,300. So I still don't understand how they didn't get their full 10%. But if you couldn't get the numbers to work, you're always welcome to come and have me and Gail help you figure that out. If we can all sit down and try and see if we can figure out why the 10% increase doesn't actually get applied all across the board.
I'll be happy to give you those papers.
Because I'm just curious at how, if we increased it by 10% so everyone could get 10%, how did the numbers not add up, you know?
Did you add with actually new employees or somebody or something?
No, but what we did add in was all their holiday pay at straight time, the fact that even though they're scheduled for 84 hours, most COs do work a full 86 hours before overtime. There's stuff that
needs to be factored in.
There are, and just a solid across the line. I mean, the sheriff cannot run out of payroll.
I do have a suggestion though. If we gave a flat 10% on each payroll line item, and say the holiday pay became an issue where 10% wasn't quite enough to cover the holidays that they're paid, then you guys, my opinion from the budget committee is you should have gave them their 10% and then came back and talked to us and said that 10% covered their regular payroll, but it's not going to take care of their holiday pay. You know, because they were all under the impression that when they voted for the 10% for all of these employees, that that's what they would get. That's why we increased those payroll line items.
Well, I mean, it was the sheriff's decision. He looked at all the information. But I also understand that we're trying very hard not to come back and ask the county for more money for things.
But if there was an issue on the full 10% that we were going to approve, then we needed to be aware that, oh, hey, you guys gave us 10% for all of them, but you didn't take into consideration that they get paid holiday pay or for more hours. You know, they need to know that. Because their intent was to give them their 10%.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Will it be at this point, you think the best way to try to figure this out would be for Ashley and Michelle and maybe the budget committee to sit down together and go back over these figures and see where we're missing this at.
I do,
I think somewhere in there we're missing each other. Of course, I want to see my employees get everything that they can get in this raise. And that was our goal when we started out. And I appreciate everybody that worked on this and took care of it. Somewhere in there, the numbers just are not matching, and I don't know exactly what that's at.
might be the longevity, might be the holiday, you know, without looking at it, I think so.
Mr. Hobbs?
Do the best way to fix it.
After the conversation with the sheriff's director, I'd like to talk to Rocky.
Are we, y'all, anything further on the comments? If not, go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Ronnie Hopper, in reference to what Rocky's talking about, I am on the solid waste board. And I don't feel like they are trying to do anything at all. We don't even have a meeting scheduled anymore. So I'd like to get something worked out so that the mayor and myself and Gary, I think, was on that committee, and Debbie Kyle was on that committee. But I would like to get somebody on there that wants to get started, get something going now. All we gotta do is start talking about, talking with risk management or MCI or whatever we need to do. We need to be doing it now. That's the way I took it. Waste management representatives who are here, they were willing to work with us. So I'm like you, I don't want to wait till the last minute to start this thing. But we're in trouble. We're going to get charged. I guarantee we're going to get charged for a bit more free waste. Quick County. So I'd like to see something done about that. Get this thing either a better board or get this board up and running more often. We really need to do it every month. That's my opinion on it. So that's all.
Yes, sir.
I've got on my phone, solid waste board meets every second Tuesday of each month at 5 p.m. at the courthouse. It's on the agenda, Rocky.
It's not on my agenda. I was at the last meeting. They just left with no date.
Did you have a chairman and all that? Did you vote for a chairman and everything?
Russell King's the chairman, yes. Am I wrong, Erica? We had no more scheduled.
Like all the other meetings, for the second Tuesday of every month.
Get back in order.
They're not.
Anything further, Mr. Thomas?
They're not.
I agree, we need to arrange something for it. Okay, that's good discussion, first family. Anything further, Mr. Small? Yes, sir.
Frazier, third, just FYI, more for the mayor as much as anything. In the last couple of years, I've heard about us trying to do something about doing some dredging for some waterfront access to some of the commercial facilities on our river access. I had a conversation with TVA today, and Don Alsbrook to be precise, and he said that the avenue has been researched multiple times by different people, so I asked for maybe to find some of that information, but the cost effectiveness was overwhelmed the desire and need or whatever the balance is there. Getting rid of the material was a big deal, and then the cost was just enormous. So we would have to have a place to put the spoils that are dug and out and all that. So you get in logistics, you're talking millions and millions of dollars. But I just want to share that with y'all because I know we talked about a shoreline group at one point.
Anything further? Ms. Roseanne?
I would just like to say thank you to everybody that voted for me.
Thank you, Roseanne. Mr. Mayor, you like to speak?
Yeah, I've got several things. First of all, on a solemn note, we need to keep Bill Key in our thoughts and prayers. He's struggling with his health, and even though he's not here on this commission anymore, in a way, he's always going to be with us. He served faithfully for many years, and we need to keep him in our thoughts. But on a personal note, I want y'all to keep Mr. Alan Key in your prayers. Alan is a dear friend of mine. Anyone that knows Alan knows that he has always been diligent and worked on the forefront of our community issues and our county government. And I just want you to know that his family is in pain right now, and they're struggling, knowing that he does not have long. And just from my personal perspective, calling him a friend, I think he was a friend to all of us here in this courtroom. So please keep him in your prayers and his family in your prayers as well. I would also suggest maybe when we have future elections of candidates that come for us, whether it be filling a seat, that we don't campaign for or against, or one or the other. We've had a month to do our due diligence, and I just don't think it's the right spot to be up here as commissioner standing up and campaigning for one or the other. Both of them are fantastic candidates. I would have been happy with absolutely the turnout either way. Just good candidates, good citizens, but maybe we should kind of check ourselves a little bit when the next one that could possibly come up. I would like to say something about, we had a county property sale this past Friday. It was hugely successful. Out of 252 properties, we pulled one out of inventory, and at the end of the day, we've sold 250 properties, and the other two are on the block to be sold. So it looks like we will realize as a county somewhere over $115,000 into our general fund. We're adding over $500,000 of appraised value back into the systems that will generate us property taxes on an annual basis. So it took a team effort to pull that off. I believe Benton Countyans should feel proud about the hard work that was put forward, and I think it's going to be a win-win for all. And in October, I will make proposals on where we put that money. On waste management, I don't want to ever assume. The contract says they could, but the contract says they possibly couldn't either. So I don't want to assume and place blame as if they're going to actually charge county citizens. I think it's a contractual strategy they use. Probably on their part, it's probably a pretty good strategy. I think on our part, we should have been more diligent when that original contract was written. I have been working on this issue since January of this year. I'm going to do my best to get waste management back into the negotiation room with the help of our council here. But also keep in mind, you don't go up against a $25 billion company with just the county lawyer. He needs help. He's going to need some expertise from the professionals who deal with waste issues every day. There comes a cost for that, okay? So if we're very excited to want to get them back into the negotiation room, we've also got to be cognizant that it comes with a cost. So, but it is something I believe would be in the best interest of the citizens. Let's talk about these host fees and these surcharges. I'm for a surcharge. I think the only way we're going to be able to find the money to fund a solid waste department is to impose a county surcharge on the trash. I think we stand to probably negotiate even a better host fee. But even then, that comes with a cost, okay? Waste management has customers. They have budgeted their year too in advance based upon the cost that has been presented to them. Suddenly we want to go up on a surcharge. Suddenly that host fee goes up. That affects their customers because they're going to pass that fee on to their customers. Right now we've budgeted $700,000 in revenue from waste management. What if increase in the fees suddenly loses them 5, 6, 7% of their customers? So we may gain on one end, but we may lose on the other. So we can't be like we're all jacked up and ready to go to battle, unless you were prepared to do battle and prepared for whatever consequences that results. If we're doing it the smart way, and if we're doing it the way I would like, we're going to ensure a win-win outcome. We should be building partnerships with our corporate entities within this community, not making them adversaries, not making them enemies. So part of this jockeying and patience is about making sure that we go into battle or we go into discussions very prepared. We don't want to be the losers when it's all said and done. So again, and Commissioner Preston, I've given you the card. I've given you the legal counsel that we have already reached out to. It's in motion. But it is something that we really need to keep working diligently toward. So I appreciate you bringing up all those points. The sheriff and the 10% raises. I think the issue really that I see is that trust was lost in the process. The commission went fully into that discussion expecting a 10% raise. When that does not happen, the commission is the one that takes the hit. The reputations are on the line. You entrusted that they would get the 10%. When the employees don't get it, it makes y'all look bad in that process. So just like we committed to the sheriff to give him that card, we took it off the budget. Y'all honored your word and you gave him the card in the last budget year. Maybe you need to look at also going and looking at that differential and giving the employees 10%. That's going to be on y'all's, shoulders to whether you want to make that decision or not. But 10% is 10%. I think when that's the expectation, there's going to be a little distrust that gets built in that process. Let's see. TVA and dredging. Of course, I have plans on and I've invited the board of directors to Benton County. There's 8 TVA board of directors. They just have to coordinate a time when some of them can be on the ground here, but Commissioner Frazier, I'll make sure that you are front and center when that happens, and because we know what the benefits could be to Benton County, but then again, they represent a federal taxpayer at the same time. That's all. That's pretty much all of that.
Yes, see.
I'm sorry, one last thing. I'm afraid I have to disagree with the mayor on one issue. This is where we're supposed to deliberate. This is where we're supposed to raise points and talk about the merits of an issue, and that's the same if we're voting for a replacement seat. We should not be lobbying for anyone outside of this room or outside of a committee room. This is the only place we have, and if the residents in my district are caring enough to contact me saying this is what we want done, I will stand up and I will let the county commission know that this is what I am hearing from the people in my district. I don't feel it's improper. They're both excellent candidates. I'm sure Janet will be good, but if, I've had, say, 4 residents call me saying this is what we want you to do, I will stand up and I will mention that.
Okay. Anything further? Commissioner? If not, we'll move it to line item 11, approval of the minutes. Motion. Motion.
Second.
Dana, second by Sonny. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. I have no more. Line item 12, the reports of the public utilities.
Motion.
Motion Dana Ferguson,
Second, Howard.
second by Tyler. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Line item 13, resolution to appoint Darrell Hicks and Elisa Douglas to the Park and Recreation Board for a 3-year term, set to expire on October the 1st, 2022.
Motion.
Have a motion, Mr. Patton,
Second, Frazier.
Second, Mr. Frazier. Any discussion?
Recommended by property.
Ms. Roseanne.
I just have a question.
Roseanne.
Roseanne Ward, Fifth District. I'm not against Dale being on this committee at all, I'm gonna vote for it, but how many committees is that that you can appoint to? How many do you serve on that, or boards?
3. But
He's on two litigation legislation meetings, is that right? You're on the law and
Law and
budget. And he's actually come off of
Other than
the
law,
He's-
other than law and budget.
Well, ethics is just because I'm the
Chairman.
Chair. There's not any other committees, I thought you were looking to something on his wife.
I don't think so. If I am, it's new to me.
Okay.
I got a question. Is there a limit on how many you can be on?
Not litigation, it's just legislation things that they come out with it.
This ain't a paying committee.
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Is that further?
No, I'm satisfied, I just wanted to know, I thought he had been appointed to several other committees. I'm sorry, Bill.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, carried, passes. Move to line item 14. Resolution to appoint Mike Stockdale to the E911 board for a 4-year term set to expire on October 1, 2023.
Motion.
Have a motion by,
I'll second.
Peyton, she second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, carried, no noes. Line item 15, resolution to approve Benton County broadband, ready community policy.
Motion.
Have a motion, Mr. Patton,
Second, Powers.
second by Ms. Powers. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Page 2 of that, I believe.
What?
On page 2, number 2, the second paragraph, B. You have fee will not exceed $100. In parentheses, you have $0. She's right there, she's showing.
Basically, there is no fee with filing an application.
It needs to be amended to say $0. It was a typo.
Right, either way, either $100 or 0, either one.
We need to move to $100, I need to zero in.
Yeah, so we just have, it's a typo that needs to be corrected.
So the fee will not exceed $0.
We'll mark that to not receive $0.
Right.
I need to make a motion.
Yes, to amend it to that.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Davis. Who's second? Alderman Fraser, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, carried.
Now we have to vote on it as amended.
Now let's make a vote to amend resolution 3 to say that $0 to be spent.
Motion.
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 Second. All in favor? Ayes, carried. Line item 16, resolution approving to implement the proposed Benton County recycling plan and working toward developing the plan into a successful long-term program for the Benton County citizens. Have a motion, Ms. Dana. Second, Mr. Hopper. Any discussion? And this put things in action. Go ahead, Ms. Dana.
Well, yes, Tennessee Vocational Rehab would like to be able to get not only the paper, but the aluminum also.
I think it's in the resolution, statement, proposed recycling plan.
Well, it says it's going to the scrapyard and Highway
Yeah.
191.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that the rehab would like it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I would like to amend that the Tennessee Rehab gets the aluminum cans.
I will second that, as I was unaware that they would take them, and she called me later and told me, so I was simply unaware that they took it. So yes, I would like to second Commissioner Ferguson's motion.
Having a motion to amend for the rehabilitation and get the aluminum. Second. Michelle, Ms. Dana already, so we'll make that noted. All in favor? Carried.
Chairman.
No?
Chairman, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Rizzo, for the energy and passion you put into solid waste in your effort. Michelle, thank you for having sponsored that resolution. I'm going to go forward.
Thank you, Bob. We take a vote to amend the change. Ms. Hopper, go ahead, before I get there.
She's up.
Go there.
I'm for the first part of this recycling plan. Where it says step number 1, I'm for that, all of that paragraph and the language is complete. I'm not for approving a resolution that says something mentions in here that there'll be 3 steps, but it doesn't define what step number 3 is, or what it's gonna consist of, if it's gonna cost money. I mean, you know, we're voting for something that we don't even know what it is. So I would like to make that amendment that we take that out of this somewhere, that where it reads that there will be step 1, 2, and step 3. Because we haven't even, there's nothing here showing what step 3 is.
Michelle, is that just a typo?
That is, when I originally drafted the resolution, there was a 3rd step, but after discussing it with Ronnie, we realized that is way far, and I took it off. I just failed to amend the last sentence. I would like to make a motion to remove and 3 from the resolution.
Have a motion and a second, to remove the 3 from the resolution. All in favor, amend the 3?
That's another amendment.
That's another amendment.
We have 2 amendments on the same resolution. Okay. The first amendment was by Dana Ferguson, second by Michelle Hill, to include the vocational rehab taking the aluminum cans. The second amendment is by Michelle Hill and second by Ronnie Hopper, to remove the verbiage in the last paragraph and 3.
Thank you.
All in favor? Ayes. Now need a motion to approve this amendment.
Motion.
Dana, any second? Line item 17. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor, just vote. Go ahead, Mr. Hopper.
The only thing I got to say about the aluminum cans and other than that, if we turn those cans into a recycling facility, like a scrapyard or something, we get money for that. If we take it to them, we don't get any money for it. The cardboard is fine, I'm just looking at it, maybe we won't make anything at all. You know, if we don't take it there, we don't get paid. If we take it to the rehab center, we don't get anything. So if we take it to scrapyard, we get whatever, we can put that back in the coffers. Did I make that perfectly clear?
Well, it does, who carries it to the recycling and the cost of that too?
Well, we'll have the sheriff's people will be doing all the transportation. For everything, so they can take that.
I don't think so. Because the sheriff's starting to get money.
Be your litter crew.
I personally think this ought to be something cool to let the commission decide on the others. It's
I'll
got too
second
many
that.
ills and going in it. Unless, the topper, would you pull it? And let's come back to your needs, discussions, I think, with the
Now,
commission.
first and a second, they said that they wanted it to be tabled till next month, that's all we need.
I'm saying table it, Commissioner.
Table it next month,
Get it corrected.
all in favor of tabling it next
Sure.
month?
I stand in opposition. I think it needs to be voted on right now. I think this is very important. I think this blocking this resolution is trying to wear down Mr. Hopper. I think you want to wear him thin where you'll give up. Let's don't do that. Let's pass this resolution tonight. Your roll call.
This was something that I didn't pay a lot of attention to, but we do have funding here that's not allocated where it's gonna go for whomever is involved at some point. So this needs to be addressed. I would think for this to be complete.
Funding such as the revenue.
Revenue from these,
From the sale of
from the
materials.
recyclables. At this time, there is revenue. I mean, I understand, sheriff's department, if they hauled it down there, I understand that there could be, I don't know if he volunteered for transportation or not. I think he's thinking of dumpsters were to be provided somewhere.
This is something
So what do you say, Ms. Frank?
the trustees can handle with the litter grant. The trustees, Rochelle can fund any expenditures through the litter grant for this process, this resolution.
The funding
Now-
from recyclables needs to be allocated to a certain line item, correct?
The question is where would the revenue from sale of material?
And I don't see that in this.
Chairman, I stand in support of this resolution. We can pass this resolution right now tonight. We can decide what we're gonna do with that metal, if we're gonna give it away, if we're gonna sell it at a later date. To oppose this resolution, we're killing the hopes and the dreams of the two sponsors. Mr. Ronnie Hopper, you listen to him, you hear the tone of his voice. Failure on this is just about gonna bury him. Let's give him some hope tonight and pass this resolution. I'm gonna stop.
Motion to pass.
And I will say, I think this resolution was made with good spirit, with good intentions. I don't believe it's that complicated. Just like we're getting ready to vote on the animal shelter, the next resolution. They had income coming in. I think these are things, that whatever income comes in goes to the general fund unless designated they want to transfer it to a certain thing. I think we're overcomplicating it. Any expenditures has to come through this particular commission, if it's a major issue and doesn't fall under the litter grant. I like the spirit of this resolution. We've got to start somewhere. It probably could have been written better, more effectively, but I think the general context is there. Hey, when the revenues come in, we'll deal with that at that point in time. The expenditures will go through the litter committee, and I think, I just think it's not that difficult.
So we've got a motion and a second to table it, so we have.
That's what you said. Mr. Turner.
Well, I'm not a commissioner, but I just wanted to comment on this just because of the way it's. Commissioner President, I know as far as voting on this, I mean, if your comment about Commissioner Hopper, this is the passion is, but the second amendment we did, or actually the first amendment we did on the aluminum, giving it away or adding that and then giving it to the cycling, that got passed. So Commissioner Hopper, you had a question about whether to even do that, but we just passed an amendment. We need to slow down a little bit and think about what we're passing, get your questions answered, because what we just did is a prime example of passing something too quick And then we had questions after we just passed an amendment about why are we doing this? And now it's caused a conflict between whether we should vote on it right now or table it till next time to figure that out. So when we do an amendment, make sure that everyone understands what that amendment is doing, because the very sponsor of this, one of the sponsors of it, is now questioning that amendment, and that's the conflict here. Okay? So just, I know sometimes we get in a rush of doing things, but that, just from an outsider watching, that's what I just saw. It's a quick amendment and it's causing a problem now where you're either tabling or have a voting it. But you can handle it two ways. You can either table it, or if you want to vote it, you can vote it and vote no, and then fix that piece. Because I think Mr. Hopper, or Commissioner Hopper was one that had an issue with that very thing in this. So y'all can fix it two different ways. Y'all can figure out which way you want to do it.
Well, I don't have a problem with metal going to the rehab. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not saying that's a problem or anything about that, but if that's just a question that y'all need to decide on to do that as a commission, that's fine. Just sort that out, and instead of re-amending it, and then we have a conflict about whether we vote for it or table it. So it's just an outsider observation for everyone.
I think we ought to give more thought and more study into it myself.
Yes,
Ms. Patterson.
if I remember correctly, when something is tabled that, in Robert's rules of order, that it's kind of dead, that's it dead. But if you, make a motion to postpone it, then it can be brought back up again in the next meeting. But I don't know, table something that kind of kills it. Am I wrong?
I think tabling, just taking it to the next meeting, it still stays alive.
Okay.
Tabling it, just push it on for further discussion. I now have a motion and a second.
To table till next.
Well, to vote. But I didn't get a second on it. I have a motion and a second to vote. Let's go ahead.
As amended.
Yeah, as amended. Yes, to
As amended. Ms. Patterson.
So they're gonna bring it, they're not gonna bring it back up just like it's as written.
We're fixing to vote on it, you either vote for it to come on it, and the only thing be out of it is the amendment of the,
You have to vote on it as what you're doing right now. That's what's pending. If you don't want that, then you vote no, and then you get.
change it later.
Change it, do it.
Resolution, you can always come back up. That moves us, let's take a vote. I'm gonna do a roll call right here for Ms. Water.
Point of information, Chairman. Are we voting on the resolution and the two amendments?
The one,
Two amendments.
the two amendments.
The two amendments have been voted on and approved. Now you are voting on the actual resolution as amended.
Thank you.
You'll call. Question.
We're voting as amended, right?
You've got two amendments.
Maybe you need to call out the two amendments.
Okay, I just read those. The first amendment was a motion by Dana Ferguson, seconded by Rochelle Hill, to amend to include the vocational rehab taking the aluminum. All voted aye. The second amendment was by Rochelle Hill, seconded by Ronnie Hopper, to remove the verbiage in the last paragraph and 3. All voted aye. So those have already been approved. Now you are just voting on the resolution as amended with those changes.
Leah Dyke. Yes. Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
No.
Bill Melton.
No.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Don Patton.
No.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes. Kenneth Miller,
Yes.
Rocky Preston,
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 18, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $19,869.29 within the sheriff's budget.
Skip on, Chairman.
17,
Yes, sir.
resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $887.02 within the animal shelter budget.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Hill,
Second.
second by Mr. Patton. Any discussion?
Yes, now before, what is the other local revenues?
That is a fundraiser. They had kind of a yard sale event, organized by some volunteers.
That was a donation, the individual donations to the.
Yes, sir.
Anything further? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Opposed? Moves to line item 18. Resolution budgeting fund in the amount of $19,869.29 within the sheriff's budget. Motion.
Motion, second.
Powers.
Motion by Ms. Powers. Need a second?
Second, Ronnie Hopper.
Second by Ronnie Hopper. Discussion. Ms. Kenny.
I've got, this $17,000. We budgeted the school $37,000 last year for school resource officer. The school is paying the county back of that $17,400. Looks to me like that needs to go in the general fund.
I hear you having work on this. Is that a motion to put it in there?
Right. For amendment.
Amendment. Have a motion by Kenny to.
It's already been, last year, it's already been paid. I mean, the man's done been paid by the county. The school is just reimbursing us this much money back to the county.
That's the $17,400.
Right.
We will put it back to the county.
All of these revenues should be placed in the general fund, not back in the sheriff's budget, because that's increasing the sheriff's budget over what we approved.
Ms. Hill.
When we worked out the budget and the sheriff agreed that, all proceeds would go to the general fund with the exception of reimbursements and restitutions, because those monies are to replace funds that are spent. Damages recovered from individuals, there was restitution for damage an inmate had done to property, those are tow bill reimbursements. We only get $2,000 in our tow bill line item. If we do not get those reimbursed tow bills back, we'll be out of money in 2 months' time easy. The $17,400 for the school resource officer, we budget that for the entire year, and the school has always reimbursed us the portion where he spent the schools. Now, if we were going to agree to turn that back over, we should have known that, because we depend on that money to help fill payroll line items that run short. We usually put it in part-time, and then as the end of the year gets close and we're short money here, we're short money there, we've always put that money where it was needed. To take it away without any warning might cause a hardship towards the end of the year. I'm just making you aware of that. Sex offender registration fee has to go back into the sex offender fund. There's no other place you can put it. Thank you.
I was under the impression that all revenue coming into the county is going into the general fund, a certain portion of that. And the department is wanting to place SRO replacement money into a part-time personnel line item, which according to the last budget I have here, has zero money placed into the part 169. I think this money needs to stay in the general fund, and the sheriff work within his budget until we can go over further in the year and see how the revenue is.
I'm gonna let Miss Ashley speak right here, she's on the funds.
Rochelle, I'm just gonna correct one thing that was said, and that's when you said that there was an agreement that the sheriff would keep certain funds. That conversation never took place at all. The conversation that did take place was that revenues generated would go back to the general fund.
Yeah.
That was the understanding, that is what the budget committee had, that's what we made you all aware of. Now, I will agree that your damages recovered from individuals does need to be reimbursed back to the sheriff's department. That is through the courts. I agree with that. Your sex offender registration fee, that is a specific fee that is collected and per TCA code can only be budgeted and used for sex offender registry. We have a specific budget and reserve for that. So yes, it does need to go back to the sheriff's sex offender budget. Any kind of fundraisers, donations, things like that can be gone back to that particular department's budget. Something along the lines of the $17,400, that is the sex offender, school resource officer that is refunded every year. It is being budgeted into their budget of a new fiscal year, although that is a reimbursement to the county that the county had already budgeted the previous year. So if you want to make that motion to amend, I understand that. But, saying that you guys weren't aware of the revenues, we had that conversation on multiple occasions.
I am very positive though that I mentioned about how reimbursements especially, and I know I talked about our towing line.
Ma'am, you didn't talk about that with anybody on the budget committee. You talked about that on the phone with me. Last month when you submitted a resolution and I tried to get a hold of you, you were out of town. I ended up having to postpone it until August, and I told you then, hey, I couldn't reach you, didn't know what to do with the resolution. You're budgeting revenues back. We all, we said that we weren't going to budget revenues back, and you said I understand that, but we have certain ones like our reimbursement of tow bills, things like that, that we really need back in our budget. So I said, well, make sure that you put it on next month's agenda. So that's a conversation that you and I had. We did have that, but not the budget committee.
I have a motion in place to pull the $17,400 out, or would you like to pull the resolution and present it back next month in order? Wait a minute.
I'm sorry for that next month, we have time to discuss it, because I think there's a misunderstanding. That money was always coming back, and apparently a conversation took place that some know about and some don't. But that money's always come back to the sheriff. It's not any kind of money.
Actually, pull it.
Yes, let's just pull it and bring it back.
What's the motion to put that back in the general fund?
I need a motion.
Sheriff
Sheriff Ford, we're gonna pull that motion, bring it back up when it's in order.
I make a motion to go back in the general fund.
Well, we can pull it, it's when it come back and to us in the next meeting, about that, Mr. Hicks.
I'd like to ask Ms. Ashley if we could, for me personally, I don't know if anybody else wants to, get a copy of the minutes from the budget meetings to see if this was talked about or not talked about, what we said, what we didn't say.
You should have copies of all the minutes so far that have been approved. The only ones that you have not approved yet are the budget committee of September.
Yeah, where can I get them in the courthouse?
Oh, you don't have your copies? Okay. If you don't have your copies, Ms. Wanda's office will have copies of all those. She reports them.
All right, that was the line item 19. Look, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $2,800 within the county building maintenance budget. Motion. Motion, Kenny.
Second.
Steele. Any discussion? Steele. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Ayes, those ayes carried. item 20, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $36,000 received from the state education grant within the school budget.
Motion.
Have a motion, Ms. Daniels, second by Kenny. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it, no. Line item 21, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $26,450 received from the insurance recovery within the school budget.
Motion.
Have a motion by Dana, second by Patton. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Ayes, no, ayes carried. Line item 22, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $140,000 received from the school resource officer grant within the school budget.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Dana, second by Kenny. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor? Aye. No, ayes carried. Line item 23, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $52,317.20 received from transition school to work grant within the school budget.
Motion.
Ms. Dana's motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Patton. Discussion. No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it, no noes. Line item 24, resolution to amend the 2018-2022 Benton County Rules of Order. Motion.
Motion, Hill.
Motion, Ms. Hill. Second, Darrell Hicks. Any discussion? Ms. Hicks.
This was approved by budget.
Approve the budget. Nothing further. Roll call vote on it. Wanda?
Leah Dyke,
Yes.
Norman Frazier,
Yes.
Gary Fire,
Yes.
Sonny Hall,
Yes.
Bill Melton,
Yes.
Doug Bickers,
Yes.
Michelle Hill,
Yes.
Janet Higgins, Roseanne Ward, Darrell Hicks,
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper,
Yes.
Mary Coward, Ronnie Hopper. Ronnie. Right. Yes or no? Yes. Mary Powers, yes. Don Patton,
Yes.
Dana Ferguson, Kenneth Miller,
Yes.
Rocky Preston,
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change your vote?
Motion carries. Do you have any over?
I did, I saw it.
Moving to line item 25, appointed notaries. We have two, looks like here. Geneva M. Reed and Merlin Cuff Flowers.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hicks.
Second.
Second, by Leon Dye. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. No, ayes carried. Thank you. Moving down to item 26. Any other business?
I make a motion to amend the rules for the next hearing. I second that motion, Hill.
Have a first and a second. Mr. Dye, Ms. Hill. For the next amend. Suspend the rules of order. What we're doing. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it, no noes. Resolution 13. Whereas the Benton County Clerk Master will need to upgrade office computers and software due to Microsoft Word and Excel license expires and upgrade becoming obsolete. All in Motion. Motion.
Frazier.
Mr. Frazier, second, Mr. Hicks. Any discussion? Mr. Hopper?
Yes, sir. Is this new money or are we just moving money around?
It's in a fund, is that right?
It's
a
a-
special fund.
Technically, when you are taking a vote, it needs to be voted and considered as new money because you're appropriating it. But this is reserve funds for this department,
So we're just moving money around?
basically. Yes, this is an appropriation.
Ms. Wanda, will you have roll call, please?
Leah Dyke.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Furs.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higdon.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Don Patton. Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Crescent.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Resolution number 14, sponsored by the Benton County Mayor, read last week, submitted by the Budget Committee. Whereas the Benton County Courts, both circuit and general session, will need an upgrade office computer and software due to Microsoft Word and Excellent license expired and upgrade becoming obsolete.
Motion.
I have a motion.
Frazier.
Mr. Frazier. Second.
Hill.
Ms. Hill, second.
And this is classified new money.
That's not new money. Roll call. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Leah Dyke.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Furs.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higdon. Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Crescent.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item, resolution 15, sponsored by the Director of School, Mark Florence, resolution from Benton County Board of Commissioners, September 16th, whereas the Board of Education is updating the HVAC control and our lighting in all 7 schools, and the Board of Education office through the Energy Efficiency School Commission. Therefore, be it resolved that the Benton County Board of Commissioners to approve the following changes within 2019-20 budget as follows. Energy Efficient School Initiative, $1,956,827. Motion, Ms. Dana. Second, Mr. Hicks. Any discussion?
I have
Ms.
a
Hill.
question. Is Mark still here? Now, we already received the money through the bond for that program, but we're just moving it into the line item.
I come up and answer because I figured we was gonna have questions. Miss Ashley and Brett and I gray-headed through this process. First of all, on behalf of the training project, it's going well as far as the work. The billing was it's been a couple of months of, I guess, a learning experience. We were under the impression, and they come to several building committee meetings, they come to several school board meetings, that it would be like basically building a new school. We pull the money out, they give the county loan, debt service would pay for that. Well, with these energy efficient loans through the Department of Education, it doesn't hardly work that way. They reimburse as the project goes along. So if we would have known that last month, we would put this money in the budget. All we're doing is putting revenues in this EESI account, moving it to building improvements. As they complete, we build each month. We'll pay it. They project it to be done in February. So once we pay all that, then we'll take that money that we pulled out for energy savings that we added to debt service, and then the county would start paying that loan. It was just a little misunderstanding. I'm breathing a lot easier now than I was probably last week, but it's just something, it's a formality. It's just not a formality. I like having an executive session with the school board on Friday and having to bring it before you tonight, but it's imperative that we start paying training. I mean, we're 2 months in, and I didn't want to wait till the 3rd week in October, so I'll be glad to answer any questions. But basically, all we're doing is taking, as training completes each month and invoice us, I'll send the information to Ashley, she'll send that to the Department of Education, they'll reimburse her, they'll put it in our account, we'll pay training. And that'll work until the project's completed. Once the project's completed, then that's when the EESI loan will start. So, yes.
Mark?
Yes.
The question I have is that it's worded increase.
Uh-huh.
Is that a correct choice of words?
You're increasing revenues and you're increasing expenditures. There's actually a code for that EESI grant in revenues, and then you're increasing building improvements in the expenditures to pay for the project. So as we get those revenues, when they send them they'll actually send them to the Board of Education, where they'll send them to the county, and then they'll transfer them to us. Then we'll pay training until the project's complete.
So it didn't go up.
No. There's no. It's just a paperwork to make sure the auditors and everything is taken care of correctly.
That's accounting principles. So this is money that has to be recognized. So you have to recognize it as revenue comes in. So you're increasing that revenue, and then you budget it to your expenditure to spend it out, and you're increasing your expenditure. So you've seen that on all our resolutions. Any grant funds.
This dollar amount got my attention.
Yeah.
and usually it's a loan, and it's, the loan, they send the money to the county and we just start paying the interest, but that's not the way this one works. Yes.
That the issue about the future, about the payment and how it's billed, is that laid out in the contract?
Yes.
Clearly?
Yes.
Anything further, Mr. Mark?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Nothing no further? Have a roll call?
Claudia Dye. Yes. Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Park.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Biggers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Yes. Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ron Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Dana Ferguson. Yes. Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Before we leave, Mr. Clay, would you like to comment anything at the end before we adjourn?
I'll just say, I sadly left off Mr. Phil Hollis. Please keep him and his family in your prayers as well. County attorney for a long time, public servant of our community, and so he's also battling some health issues, and please keep him and his family in your prayers as well.
How are you going? Thursday.
Call us and ask, but I haven't had anybody call. No commissioners told us whether they're attending. Okay. And then those are calls we
I have a question / statement. I was out at the health department doing some stuff that the mayor and I are working on, and Greg. The question I have, Mayor, with the people that we have doing some different paperwork for us, are they, any of them, able to look at grants and stuff to maybe like improve some of the lighting out there at the health department, or upgrades to the lower, I'm looking at solar lights out there, that's what I'm looking at. Do we have anybody on our staff that can look for grants for that type of stuff?
Well, normally, the health department could possibly look and see if there's anything in their side. We don't have a full-time grant writer. We don't have anybody working full-time for those type of elements. We rely a lot on you, the commissioners, to also be diligent of them. But if we get some, we can always do our due diligence and pursue them. Of course, there comes work. Now, I mentioned that we're going to have about $115,000 worth of revenue from these property sales. And I'm working on some other kind of outside the box type items that could bring money to us in the coming year. you know, this would be, it'd be a good opportunity to use some of this money that we're gonna make off this property, and you heard me in the property committee. I don't want us to hold this money, I want us to take this money and reinvest it back into some needs, and so we've got planning on, kind of restriping, sealing a lot of these parking lots, restriping, various county, you know, service buildings, and the lighting, it might be a good opportunity to pursue, if we need to upgrade some lighting, and to look and see if we'll have the funds to expense for it, but that's a capital improvement, and so, you know, in a way, I doubt there's gonna be a grant that's gonna cover that specifically. However, on a grand scale, just like we saw with the schools, you know, that energy efficient, there are particular type of programs that are available, and Train offers one of them, and they offer one for city governments, county governments. They'll redo street lights, they'll redo county buildings. So maybe we need to have the Train representatives in here to tell us what opportunities there would be with other county buildings.
I noted some issues out in the health department parking lot, lights, sure. I did look at the senior citizens building also, but that's another story. I just was curious about these grants.
Ms. Dana, are you aware of some classes that some of them should attend? You wanna bring it up? You talking
They have
about?
the West Tennessee, meeting of all the commissioners at, at the fairgrounds in Paris on Thursday.
This month?
This Thursday, the
I'd like to
19th.
draw
Yes,
back.
we all should have gotten
Need to let the
stuff.
mayor know.
I think
Ms. Powers.
it said to let the mayor's office know
Yes.
who's going, and I responded, and did an email. So
Perhaps that, I looked at that email, it didn't have money on it.
They will call us, they usually call us the Tuesday or Wednesday before. So they will call and ask for a head count, so if you plan on
If you want, raise
attending,
your
please
hand,
let us
let's go.
know.
I'm calling.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I may,
And if you don't like fish, bring something else.
Put 9, that way you get more food.
And will you have the gift basket?
I've got the gift basket already.
There's another class for the Christian gets 6 hours, I believe it's this month, next month coming up at, McKinsey.
That's the utility board training.
John's gonna be there also. They said you pick up in 6 hours, there's training there, it's gonna be issues.
I've already got 4. I went to the ethics last week.
Well, they give 6 on this other, I think, maybe Sunday go to, make sure, you know. Nothing further than that.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion,
Second.
motion, Mr. Dana,
Second, Fraser.
Mr. Fraser, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye, that is adjourned.